What first drew you to advertising as a career choice?
What drew me to advertising was actually, in a weird way, I had no choice. Third generation advertising guy. My father's brother, my uncle, who was 15 years older than he, was in advertising, believe it or not, in the 1940s in Philadelphia. My father kind of took the baton from him, was in advertising, and I grew up with it. And so I've been making a living in the business since 1984. It's a long time. It's 30 years.
Do you still remember any commercials from your childhood?
So I remember a lot of commercials. Growing up in an advertising household, as we did, TV was more of a social event in those days. It wasn't a TV in every room. Like the family would gather to watch television. And we were told not to talk, during the commercials. We could talk during the shows. So I grew up kind of watching commercials. I remember a lot of commercials. I bet you most people of my generation would remember a lot of, and I feel kind of guilty saying this because they're usually decried as not very creative, but you remember a lot of jingles.
What do you think makes jingles memorable?
Among purists in the field, jingles are, laughed at, scoffed at, but God, you remember them. What do they call them? Earworms. They get in your head and you can't get them out sometimes. And you add that to, almost everyday exposure, 6 times a day. It's going to get in there. I can do, I could sing one for you. There was a kid's hot cereal for children called H.O. Farina. And it was an animated cartoon. It was very rudimentary. If you saw it today, you wouldn't believe it was like a national broadcast cartoon. And it was a little story of Willie and Wilhelmina. And Willie trips on a rock. And he goes, every day I trip over that rock, Wilhelmina. And she says, move it, Willie. And he says, can't, too big. And I bet you I'm getting this word for word, if you could find it. And she says, I will. And he says, you're a girl. And she picks it up. And then the jingle comes up and it goes, strong Wilhelmina eats her farina. Like I said, I probably heard that 500 times, maybe more when I was growing up, because it was every weekend for about 8 years.
What elements of a commercial are the most important?
To me, a commercial basically is built in 3 parts. If you think of it as a pyramid, the top part of the pyramid, I would say, is impact. I have to intrude upon your life, because you're probably working on your computer while you're watching TV, or you're doing something. And when I talk about a TV commercial, it's the same for a web ad or an app. So you have to get impact. You have to intrude. You have to kind of knock on the door. The second thing is communication. What do you want the person to know? And that needs to be clear and precise. And the third thing is the hardest. It's persuasion, because you're running a commercial to get people to do something. So it's that amalgamation. Another way of talking about it, and this is old school, but there's a acronym that probably comes from the Mad Men era called AIDA, like the opera. Attention, interest, desire, action.
How do you feel about using celebrities to sell things?
Sometimes using a celebrity is a shortcut to intrusion, because people pay attention to celebrities. Hopefully, it's a celebrity that has some bearing on the brand. That I don't think if I was working on a depilatory, I'd want to use Tommy Lee Jones, but that would just be gross. But you find the right person, they can have special meaning, I think. And we do live in a celebrity culture, and people, their ears perk up when they see a celebrity. So if you go back to that pyramid I drew, it's a way of getting impact. I'm not a giant fan of it, but sometimes you do things you're not a giant fan of.
On your website, you say, I can make people laugh. How important is humour in advertising?
I tend not to be funny in TV commercials. I'm just partly because I'm kind of a cerebral guy, and I wind up having to use that more than humor. But I think humor is incredibly important in the business, and a lot of the commercials that really resonate with people, I think, are funny. A lot of movies, a lot of everything, you know.
With all the technology, viral advertising, etc., do you think billboards and TV commercials have had their day?
Have billboards and TV commercials had their day? You know what? I don't think so. I mean, I can tell you empirically, I can tell you rationally that 75% of all media dollars is spent on broadcast. And I know it's like courant to say, I don't have a TV or I never watch TV, but people do. The fact is, TV viewership is at an all-time high. So I don't think TV is dead. And I don't think billboards will be, you know, something as kind of passé as a billboard will be dead as long as, like, the highways are crowded. Because you got a captive audience. And until we can kind of pixelize ourselves and beam ourselves to work, I think there'll be billboards. I mean, they can be effective.
As a consumer, and obviously as an advertiser, does advertising influence the decisions you make?
Yeah, you know, I'm very susceptible to advertising. I think because I tend to notice it. You know, I think I'm very sensitive to. I think I'm very sensitive to stuff that isn't true. But when I see something that's well crafted and appeals, I think, to both my head and my heart. You know, I think I register those things.
Is there an existing advertising campaign you wish you'd come up with? And why do you think it is so effective?
Is there an existing advertising campaign? Yeah, that I wish I did. There's a few. I think the stuff that is being done for Nike, just in general, for 30 years has been exemplary. You know, they tapped into a mindset and they made everyone feel like they were athletic, and they became kind of the gold standard, and they rarely hit a false note. Same thing with Apple, though people are distressed in the industry about the latest direction Apple's been taking, which seems less sincere.
Why do you think the Apple campaign is so effective?
You know, Apple took, I think Apple is effective because they looked at an industry and they said, here's what's wrong with the industry. And everything that industry does, we're going to do differently. So that industry, for years and years and years and years, is talking about speeds and feeds. And they're talking about 697 megahertz and 4 megabytes of RAM or gigabytes of RAM, whatever it is. And Apple just said, it works. And what they did was they said, you want to be creative, this machine makes you creative. And they simplified. They were compelling, and they never lied. Yeah.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
Most definitely.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion?
Alcohol and junk food to children.
Why should those ads be banned?
Because it's promoting something that's unhealthy, and that, especially junk food to children, when they see it, they're very susceptible to the adverts, and then they want it immediately. And it's a problem.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I'm sure I am. Probably not consciously, but I'm sure subconsciously.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
I mean, I don't care for cigarette ads or alcohol ads, but should they not be advertised? That's not a decision I should make, so I don't think so.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I'm not very influenced by ad campaigns. I'm influenced by reviews.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
The only thing that comes to mind that should be banned from advertisement is I think they tend to use the female body inappropriately to sell things and items. That's pretty much the only thing that I could think of.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I think that everyone is somewhat influenced by advertising campaigns, even on a minor level.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
Perhaps cigarettes shouldn't be advertised because children probably shouldn't be seeing them advertised in a cool or exciting manner.
Do you think you're influenced by advertising campaigns?
I think a lot of people are usually influenced, a little by advertisement, especially because there's so much advertisement on media, and we watch a lot of TV, internet. I try not to be. I try to research the product on my own using internet or whatnot, and try to choose the best product, not because of the advertisement.
Is there any product that shouldn't be advertised, in your opinion? Why should those ads be banned?
Advertisements for cigarettes, I think, should be banned. I don't think there's anything positive about cigarette smoking, so I think that anything that causes health issues or bad influences or addiction should be banned from being on commercials.